Hi, team. Thanks for joining us. The first portion was just to whet the palate for the good stuff. And the good stuff is upon us. Because you get to hear from well-informed, important, influential, experienced educators that are going to offer a wealth of tips, suggestions, pointers, ideas, in terms of getting geared up for your job search and transitioning out to the districts that you're interested in teaching with. Okay, so the way that our time together is going to work with this portion of the event is we're going to give each panelist an opportunity to introduce themselves and talk briefly about their districts, address some of their hiring needs, let you know a little bit about their districts, their campuses, their demographics, all the above. And then without further ado, we're just going to move into the crux of our time together, which is you guys asking questions and getting to gain some useful insight directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Should have earmuffs first, though. Okay, so, sound like a plan?
Yes.
Awesome. Again, I can't thank you enough for your enthusiasm and participation and attentiveness and staying awake with us. We appreciate y'all fighting through. Confident you'll get some useful information with our time together. Okay. Come on down, team. Come on down. Everyone, let's give Miss Scarcliffe a round of applause. Okay. So as Norma's going to come in, and thank you for the escort. Sorry we kept you searching around campus long. Okay. So if we don't get some questions, if you guys can't facilitate, if we don't come up with some good questions that you guys want to hear, we have some predetermined questions already presented by previous cohorts that we'll go over. Want some water, Norma?
Oh, there's one.
Thanks for joining us. No worries. Okay. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. You guys ready to get started? Thank you. I'll go ahead and duck off to the side. And our first district representative that won't be benefiting from the clicker. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. It's okay. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Appreciate it.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Brian Hurley. I'm with the Northeast Independent School District. I'm the HR Director for Certified and Classified Staff with Northeast. I'm a UTSA grad. I got my teaching certificate in special education from UTSA and came back and did my master's degree. So I know the great program that is here at UTSA, and we're always excited as recruiters to see the UTSA students come through the line because we know the quality education that you are receiving. Tell you a little bit about Northeast. Northeast has about 64,000 students. We have 70 campuses, that is elementary, middle, and high school. We have 11 magnet programs, and 2 actual magnet schools. So we offer a lot of different variety for our students. We have a strong fine arts program within our schools. We have an automotive, tech, HVAC, cosmetology. So really what our goal is to provide a well-rounded education for all of our students so they have options. So no matter what they want to go into, that option is there for them. We look forward to seeing you at the upcoming UTSA job fair. If you have any questions, I'll stay after. I'll give you some information about our district, more specific information, and I'll hand out my business card to you as well. Just by show of hands, how many are student teaching with Northeast this semester? All right, we really appreciate you coming into our schools. Really take that opportunity to learn as much as you can, try new ideas, work with your mentor teachers, and just really explore the different things that you can do as a classroom teacher. And I think I'm passing it off to Norma.
Hello, everyone. I'm Norma Scarcliffe. I'm with San Antonio ISD. I've been with the district 31 21 years. I could have retired about a year and a half ago, but I love what I do. I love coming out here, even though it's late. I love coming out here and sharing everything about our school district, and also just supporting you guys. And really, like Brian said, we're all looking for great talent. These are my colleagues. I can call them, text them anytime. And because we're all looking for great teachers. Yes, we compete for great talent, but we also want the best for our kiddos. And we all do. We all want great teachers. So a little bit about San Antonio ISD. We are centrally located. We're right downtown San Antonio. We are an entirely Title I school district. So if any of you guys have any kind of federal loans, they would qualify for loan forgiveness. So that's a great opportunity to start your career. We also have lots of different types of schools. We have choice schools. We have single gender schools. We have early college high schools. We went from 12 dual language campuses 2 years ago to 49 this year. So really pushing the dual language and all the way up to high school. So we have 2 of our high schools that are also dual language. How many are student teaching at San Antonio ISD? Well, thank you so much. And the rest of y'all, I'm sorry, but you'll have opportunities. So thank y'all for being here. We have great support system for new teachers as well. And I know you guys will be interested in hearing about that. So look forward to hearing from you or seeing you at the career fair. And pass it over to Deborah. Oh.
Thanks, Norman. Next up, we have Northside ISD.
Hi, I'm Debbie Herrera. I'm the Assistant Director for Secondary HR. So I handle the hiring for all of our middle schools and high schools. And then Rebecca Garza.
And I'm the Assistant Director for Elementary and a UTSA alum.
I actually got my certification from UTSA. I was a post-bac certification person, but they didn't call it that back then. I just came in and did some hours and got my teaching certificate, so I'm very familiar with UTSA as well. And I've been with Northside for 35 years. So it's a really great district to start your career in, and even to end your district, because I'm thinking in about maybe 5 more years, I'll be ready to go too. But let me tell you a little bit about Northside. We are the largest district in Bexar County. We have 106,000 students. There are 20 middle schools, 11 comprehensive high schools. We have 6 magnet schools, 79 or 80 elementaries. And we are getting ready to start a STEM magnet school at Jones Middle School. So that's brand new coming up for next year. With all the number of campuses and the bigness of our district, I think some people might think, well, they're so big. But what I can tell you is, even though we're a big district, it's almost like being in a family as well. There's a family feel about it. It's like San Antonio. San Antonio is a big city with a small town feel. Northside's a big district with a family feel. And y'all are going to have lots of different opportunities throughout our district, depending on if you want to stay in curriculum instruction, if you want to move to administration, counseling. With all the different campuses, there's a lot of variety. We also have Title I campuses. There are opportunities for loan forgiveness with that. And with the magnet schools, if you're interested in something specific, they're there too. Rebecca, you want to add something?
I would just like to see how many are student teaching with Northside. Awesome, and as you know, UTSA is smack dab in the middle of our district, but we cover all the way to Northeast, to San Antonio ISD, out to Medina, so it's a very large area that we cover as well.
Thank you, panelists. Okay, so without further ado, now you guys get to steer the ship. And we're hoping to turn it over for questions, Q&A, no pressure. If anyone has a question, raise your hand, we'll come by and give you a mic. I want to go ahead and get us started, which is slightly atypical. Usually I turn it over to you guys. But I wanted to have each of the panelists, if they'd be so kind as to answer this question to get us started. If you were going to offer some tips and suggestions regarding how a student can make the most of their clinical teaching experience, suggestions would you offer as they get ready to embark on what will be an incredibly influential semester in their professional development? How would you recommend they make the most of their clinical teaching semester? And sorry for monopolizing y'all's time. I figured I'd get the momentum started.
I would say definitely be present, just in all sorts of ways. Really, you may be getting some constructive criticism. Embrace that. Be receptive to all learning. You may see some things that you're going to love and carry over what your cooperating teacher may be, you may be modeling after, and you may love some things. There may be some things also that you can take that you wouldn't do. And so just really learn from the experience, but definitely use your experience. You guys have an advantage because you are student teaching. You have an advantage over alternative certification program. And there are some great ACP programs and some great ACP students and teachers that come out of programs, but you guys have the advantage because you've lived it and you've been in a classroom. So use those experiences to draw from, even when you're interviewing or your own classroom, when you go into it, what works, what doesn't work, and what you would change, how you can enhance. So really embrace your student teaching and learn from it because you're always going to use those experiences.
Just to add to that, reflect, and reflect. So every single day, after you get done your teaching, reflect on the experience. Some of you may journal, and that's an excellent way to kind of reflect on what's going on. But those notes will be very helpful as you go back and when you get your own classroom to say, these things worked, these things didn't work. So really working in conjunction with your supervising teacher, your mentor teacher, explore, do some different things under the guidance of your mentor. That's the time to do it and kind of see, hey, does this work or doesn't it work? Looking at discipline management. Most of you are going to take on the discipline management structure of the current teacher, but ask to do some new things. Maybe if you see something that's not working in the classroom, ask your mentor teacher, can I try this? So it's a great opportunity for you to explore and try new things, reflect on what you're doing, and then once you get to your classroom and say, these are the things that work for me as a student teacher, and these are the things I'm going to try to incorporate, these are the things that didn't work, I'm going to abandon those or maybe tweak those to make them work in the future. And as Norma said, the information that you're going to get during your student teaching is very valuable. So use those experiences because you'll get interview questions about, well, what would you do in this situation? Reflect back and say, hey, I had something similar to what you're asking in my classroom, and this is what I did, and this is what turned out. It doesn't always have to be successful. You can say, hey, I tried this, it didn't work, so I had to go back and tweak it a little bit. I did this, and then I got this result. But really, capitalize on those experiences that you're going to get in the classroom. Because as Norma said, the alternative programs, they don't have those opportunities that you have during your student teaching.
Thanks, Brian.
And I would also just ditto everything they said, but also make sure and not limit your experience to just your cooperating teacher, because chances are you might get an interview in a different grade level than what you're assigned to. If you're a core, you might be in third grade and you might get a fifth grade interview. So go and take that time to visit with the fifth grade team or teachers and see how that's different. That way, no matter what interview, what position the interview you get is for, you'll have some background knowledge on that. I think that's it.
Thanks.
Did all of it, definitely. But I would say try to make sure that if you are having difficulty, that you do reach out to your cooperating teacher. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. And make sure you're prepared when you walk into your classroom. Every day you need to be prepared because those kids are going to know if you're winging it or if you're really there, solid, ready to go. But take advantage of the opportunities you do have. As everyone said, try to be creative if that's in your vein and that's how your teaching style is. Obviously, you need to talk with your cooperating teacher, make sure some of the activities that you'd like to try are good and they're okay. But definitely try to try out the different things that you have cooking up in there, if at all possible, within the parameters of your school and the district and things like that.
And I'd like to add also, just thinking about what they said, also, you guys, you've heard some more current research and more current ideas. So definitely share those things as well. Provide input. Maybe you'll probably, I know you will be involved in some grade level meetings or some department meetings. If you have something to share, speak up and share those ideas. Also provide input or do your part of contributing also, because I'm sure they would want to hear also some new ideas or some things that maybe some trends that you're more aware of because they've been out of maybe the university for a bit.
Well said, thank you. Okay, any more to add? We want to turn it over to our audience for Q. I saw you first. So way to set it off for us.
Can each of you explain your hiring process, like how it goes from start to finish, if you're one of those schools that puts us into a pool, or if you're one that you specifically, like a principal could say, I want this one, or if there's a specific school you're interested in?
Good question.
So with Northside, we have what is called general postings. So you'll have a general secondary teacher posting, and you'll have a general elementary posting. We also have special ed elementary secondary, special ed secondary. Some of the other postings you might see are for career technology, and those are a little bit more specific. So we're looking for construction, or we're looking for family and consumer science, health science technology. But as far as core content, it's going to be a general posting. And what happens is you apply to the posting, and it puts you into a pool based on your certification. And so we have queries built off those application pools. So that our principals will go in and start looking at the English 712 pool, high school English. And so then they'll start looking at applications. A lot of times, principals will call us and ask us for student teachers. That's really the first ask. Who are the student teachers that are going to be ready to go? Substitutes is the next layer. And then we look at ACPs. So the fact that y'all are student teaching right now is definitely a great advantage. So the principals decide a group of individuals that they want to interview. It can be 5 to 7. And they'll call you up for an interview. And then after they've interviewed everyone, they make a decision as to who they want to recommend. Our campus principals do not and cannot offer positions. That's HR. What they will do is recommend. That recommendation comes through HR. We do our background checks, we do our certification checks, reference checks, and everything. And once we approve you as a candidate, then we call to offer the position. And you might go on multiple interviews, which is fantastic, and you might get multiple offers, and I'll call you if you're a secondary teacher and say, this campus and this campus want you to work for them. And then at that point, you have a choice. So that's kind of how it all works.
Quick question, sorry to jump in. Is the interview at a campus or at NISD headquarters?
It's at a campus.
Thanks.
With Northeast, we do specific postings. So the first thing you'll do as a candidate is you'll go online and you'll create a profile. That's just basic information, references, your resume. We ask some profile questions you'll need to answer. And then after that, you'll see all the jobs that we currently have posted. And so it'll say 3rd grade teacher, Thousand Oaks Elementary. And if that's something you're interested in, you'll click apply now. It takes your profile and attaches you to that job. So the principal of that campus can see these are all the people that applied to my position. So the longest or the most lengthy part of the process is creating your profile. Once you get that done, then we encourage you to check our postings every 3 to 5 days. And any position that you're interested in, just click that apply button, and it takes you and attaches you to that job. So the principal will have access to all of your information. At that point, they screen their applicants. They will screen all the applicants in that requisition, and then they will schedule their interviews. So the interviews are done at the campus level. You may experience an interview with a campus principal, or it may be a panel interview. It just depends on the principal and how they like to interview candidates. But they will have all of your information at their fingertips. There are certain requirements that are needed in your profile. One, the references, your resume. For any professional position, a resume is required. You'll be asked to take a Gallup survey, and all of those things need to be completed in order for a principal to consider you for a position. When you apply, you'll know your status. Like it'll say you applied to this position. If you get scheduled an interview, you'll receive an email saying interview scheduled at this campus. If you are moved to the recommendation or offer tab, you will see that as well. So you will know where you are in the process. Once that position is filled, then we go in and we close that requisition. So any candidate that was not selected will receive an email encouraging them to apply to other positions, but this position now has been filled. So it kind of walks you through, and you can decide, is that a campus I want to work at? Is that too far from where I live? Is this a grade level that I'm interested in, or a subject area I'm interested in? So we don't do a generic or general posting. Every once in a while we will for our administrative positions, and sometimes, depending on the year, for an elementary position, but for the most part it's going to be a specific posting, so you'll know the location and the grade level and the subject.
Thanks. So to jump in, I feel obligated to remind the audience that Judson ISD is not on Judson Road. Previous joke, sorry.
And O'Connor High School is not on O'Connor.
Okay, so SAIC does very much but similar. We do both. We do pools for the most part. Usually this time of year we're going to post for pools because we're looking for 2021 hires. We also do campus specific if it's something like they mentioned, Highlands High School has a dual credit culinary arts position. Well, we're not going to make a pool for that because it's not in every one of our schools. It's specific to Highlands High School. And so we do both pools and mostly pools. So principals have access to pools that are aligned with their level, and they can search and query applicants. We also do ask that, even if you haven't finished your student teaching, go ahead and start applying. It's going to take time. You're going to be busy with student teaching. You can start your profile, save it, and just keep adding to it. Then, spring break, you have all this time. You can go ahead and finish it up. If you have, in SAISD, if you haven't completed your testing, you just indicate pending exams. We want to start grooming you. We want to start courting you. Even if you haven't finished your testing, we want to know that you're out there and that you're interested so that we can start working with you and communicating with you, and even sending you out to campus for interviews, because they may make a recommendation even though you're not complete. They may make the recommendation for pre-hire for the fall school year.
Yes, sir.
How beneficial is it while you're doing your student teaching if you want to coach as well to help coach in the spring, this upcoming spring as well?
I would, if coaching is something you're interested in, I would definitely volunteer. Talk to the head athletic person at the campus and just let them know you're interested in coaching, and that way you can volunteer in the afternoons. And for anyone who is interested in coaching with Northside, we do encourage you to call our athletic department probably sometime after the job fair to let our athletic department know that you are interested in teaching and coaching at Northside, and they will provide you a screening interview. Same thing with fine arts. If you are music, art, dance, theater arts, if you are interested in working at Northside, same thing. After the job fair, we're going to encourage you to call our fine arts department, so that way you can also get a screening interview. And when we see each other at the job fair, we'll have the phone numbers for you.
question. Is that a relatively new development?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and we also, we'll be present at the UTSA Job Fair. Early May, the first weekend of May, we'll have a citywide job fair, and we invite all student teachers and anybody that's in all the universities. We invite them and the public to our job fair. We invite our PE department, our athletics department is there, our fine arts department. They're also part of our job fair, so they can also make recommendations because they'll know where our vacancies are, where they want to direct someone to go to this campus, because they know that this school is going to have a band opening, and so they'll direct them to the appropriate campus as well.
And just as far as volunteering, not only for athletics, but if you want to experience like academic UIL in your student teaching, take that opportunity to explore all different components of a campus, working cafeteria duty, volunteering one day to supervise that, or going to the students' band concerts, athletic events. Those things go a long way in building student-teacher connections, and they see you out there. The cooperating teachers, the athletic coaches, they see you out there volunteering. So word of mouth goes very far, especially when you're doing your student teaching. Now, don't take away from your student teaching. Your primary function is to do well at student teaching. So don't feel obligated, I need to do all these things, and then it takes away from, your experiences doing the student teaching, and it suffers. So don't let that happen. But take those opportunities to explore all different avenues of that campus and what's taking place on that campus. See if you can go into a leadership meeting. See if you can, volunteer to go on a field trip. Whatever that may be, and you have the time, take advantage of that, because it does give you that experience when you get those interview questions. Hey, have you ever done this? Or what would you do in this situation?
So you're him, and then we're coming here. Yeah.
As a fine arts major, we tend to be very concerned about the support that we're going to receive, particularly in the Title I area. As a graduate of Highlands High School, I got to see how much potential, particularly SAIC has. But I think it's no secret that sometimes it's not the most, at least Title I schools are not the most ideal for a first-year teacher. I've even been told as a string player to avoid SAISD. What, as a first-year teacher, because of the situations that have occurred with strings, what supports do each of the districts have for first-year strings particular, but fine arts in general teachers? And what do the Title I schools do to draw new talent, even though it's known that it's difficult?
Well, that's a shame that you've heard that, because we have a huge growing fine arts department. We've had some, our previous fine arts director had passed away, and we shortly got some amazing Dr. Ladebach. He oversees our fine arts. We have lots of support for our fine arts. In fact, I'm going through applications, I'll see many applicants in the fine arts area where sometimes they don't have a position. They no longer are in this role because the arts were cut, and that's really a shame, and we see it in maybe some smaller school districts. They'll cut those positions, when the funding is not there. We have grown tremendously. We've added a second theater arts teacher to all of our middle schools. We've also, about 3 or 4 years ago, we added 6 dance teachers to existing campuses that already had dance teachers. So we've really done a lot to support all of our fine arts. I've only worked in SAISD. I don't know that there is a difference as far as title versus not title school as far as support. Funding, we probably even have additional funding because we are title. I'm not sure though.
Did you want to add something? Did he want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add something. I used to be an instructor on A before I was full-time
let me just address this. There are title campuses in all of our districts. And let me tell you, title campuses are challenging. But I can tell you, as a principal of a title campus, it was the most rewarding job that I ever had. Working with students, and students are students no matter where you go. It's SAISD, Northside, or Northeast. We're public education. We want to do what's right for kids. So our greatest need is at our title campuses. So we are looking for teachers who can teach at those campuses. And it takes a dedicated person that wants to teach at a title campus. And if you feel that that's not the best route for you, that's fine. You got to find the match for you. But I also want to address, if you look around and you hear people talk, how many, just by a show of hands, how many have heard, don't go into education? Raise a hand. All right? That's the sad case that we're in right now. Education is the most rewarding career that you can have. And don't let anybody talk you out of that. It's tough. I'm not going to lie to you. Your first 3 years are going to be tough. You're going to figure out, is this working or isn't it working? But don't give up on it. We need quality teachers. We need you to be the voice for public education and for university programs, saying, no, go into education. It is a great field. So you got to change that dynamic. I'm getting close to retirement. I'm sure many of us are eligible for retirement. But you've got to carry that on. I'm not going to say it's easy. It is a tough job, but it is the most rewarding job that I have ever had.
I'd just like to add, we talk about this when I talk to student teachers often, is, you hear so much negative on the news. The news wants to report. It makes, it attracts viewers. They're only going to say the negative stuff. And you guys, you're going to go student teaching. It's going to be tough. You're going to be tired. You're going to come home and you're going to call on the phone, or you're going to come to your significant other, and you're going to have to vent, and you're going to what happened today, or this so sad story. And so then you're going to go home, or your parents going to say, how's student teaching, or how's teaching? Oh, it's great, but there's all these, if there's a lot of stuff that you're going to carry with you. But guys, don't forget. So they're always hearing the negative, and then they'll tell their comadre that poor Mija, she's in a classroom that has a really tough kiddo in there or whatever. And so there's all this negative, and then they turn on the television, and there's more negative because that's what they want the news wants to report. But you guys also have to remember the positive. When you have this amazing kid that learns to do this, or this class that gets it, and you've got to celebrate those moments and tell your friends those things too. This great thing that happened. Because also, in addition to that, you are the ones that need to protect the profession. You're next. And so you've got to do everything to protect the profession.
First of all, let me tell you, I'm a product of SAISD. I graduated from Jefferson High School, and I'm very proud of that. So education, and I got a great education, and yes, I'm old, and that was a long time ago, but they are doing great things, as is Northeast, and as we are at Northside. I started my career at a Title I high school. It wasn't classified Title I, it was John Jay, but it's Title I. And so don't be afraid. If you want to make a difference in education, as Brian said from Northeast, that is where it happens. Those are the kids that need us the most. And yes, we're going to work hard, but at the end of the day, you walk away feeling so good about what you were able to do and the difference you made. And here's the thing, as far as the programs, they're only as good as the person who's promoting them. So if you are at a campus where, say, the string program isn't where you'd like it to be, then that's your task to go to those elementary schools, get those kids out there, and talk about what a great idea it is for you to become a part of our strings program, and you build it. And when you build it, it just gets better and better. So we're not cutting programs because kids don't want. It's just that, well, I guess it is that they don't want, but someone's not telling them they do want it. And someone's not showing them how much fun it is. And so, just don't be afraid.
Can I just respond to that? Sure. I feel like people think I would,
No, I'm just saying that in every single one of our districts, we've had situations where we started off with a full-time choir, and for whatever reason, now we're down to a half. But when I look back on those situations, we weren't doing enough to recruit and to get kids involved in the program. And that's where that's what the fine arts has to do, is really get kids into it.
Thanks, team. Thanks, panelists. I'm going to jump in quickly. We have about 20 minutes left. We have 3 questions lined up. I did want to reinforce one point that kind of brings back the topic we've been discussing. So like we discussed previously before our panelists joined us, it's a two-way street. They're evaluating your candidacy, you're evaluating the support, you're evaluating the resources, you're evaluating fit with district. In your interview, everyone in the room is going to have an opportunity to ask questions of the folks that are interviewing you. And one thing I would encourage you to assess is the type of support that will be available to you as beginning educators, which make your fit and how you're going to be onboarded and how you're going to be supported incredibly influential. So everyone's going to have an opportunity to assess and ask questions along those lines. And I think the points that you've heard reinforce the importance of making sure that support is in place. Okay, so I saw 3 questions. Sorry to dangle and then steal y'all's thunder and not let you touch on this. So we were coming here, and then young lady in purple. We could go to you first, then you. Yes.
Okay, so all of you have mentioned references in the application process. What are you looking for specifically in references? Are there key points are you looking for, like recommendation letters? And what are you looking for in those things? What would you recommend, like what kind of people besides our, I know you've mentioned CTs, besides our CTs, what other kind of recommendations would you say would be helpful to push us along that process?
Here we ask that you include your cooperating teacher as one of your references, your university supervisor, and someone else that knows you professionally. Maybe another professor, maybe you worked at CVS for 5 years and they're still your boss, you work there part-time. Somebody that knows you professionally. We don't need your sister or your mom as your references. Believe me, we still get them. But somebody that knows you professionally. It could be another teacher that you work collaboratively with, or your last observation hours that you did, maybe volunteered, daycare, anything else that professionally that knows your work. We in SAIC, we also ask that you upload your student teaching evaluations, not all of them, but just the summative or your final observations.
They're pretty much the same. For Northeast, as far as references, we do require a cooperating teacher, professor at the school, but you can include as many references as you like, but we're looking specifically for someone who has supervised you in a teaching role or supervised you in another position. So typically a supervisor, a boss, cooperative teacher, that's what we're really looking for on how you perform in whatever setting.
Your side is exactly the same. The only thing I would add is if I heard somebody saying they were an instructional assistant, you'd want to add that principal. If you volunteered, church or any other organization where you showed responsibility and initiative, certainly if you were working with kids, that would be somebody else you would want as that third, but our requirements are the same as well.
Okay, thank you, team. Yes?
What are your new hire commitment requirements? Is it 1, 2, or 3 years that you need to be required to commit to your school district, your job posting? And if it is more than 1 year and you have a person who has now gone on to get their master's, would they be able to reapply for an open position that meets that master's requirement?
I think our answers all are going to be the same, but your contract is for a year. You are probationary for a year. You're actually then offered another probationary contract around April. for the following year, you do have to work 90 days in a school year for that year to count. So I know all of you are student teaching now, so you'll be looking at August higher. But we require 3 probationary years before you could transfer to another school or go into a lateral position. So I think that's pretty standard. The state dictates that.
We don't require that you stay on with the school district. We would love commitment, yes, but especially if you decide you're going to go or you have to relocate for some reason or go back to school, as long as you leave on good terms and your performance is proficient, then you're eligible to reapply and be rehired.
Good questions. Young lady, so yes.
So, how competitive is your hiring process, and what advice do you have for us when we are looking for jobs? At the beginning.
So some of our campuses may have over 100 applicants. If you remember, we post the positions very specific to the campus and grade level. So some campuses may have over 100. Another campus may only have 30. It just depends on the time of year, the campus, and what you're looking for. But as far as competitive, all of the candidates are considered. So our principals are guided to take a look at every candidate, even if they have 100 in there. They are to take a look at every candidate and then go through the process of determining if they're going to be scheduled in interview. So you will be looked at if you apply to a position. You will be looked at in interviews.
In our district, when you apply, our staffing assistants go through applicants and change the status, whether you're pre-screened out because maybe somebody doesn't have the right qualifications, and they're redirected to a different maybe posting or a different position. We move our applicants, your application received, your application's reviewed, under review, your application, so you go through different pipelines and you're notified along the way. Principals primarily look at anybody who may be missing something, like maybe they haven't uploaded their evaluations. Then finally is the candidate status. So principals primarily look at candidate status. As far as competitive, yes, we have lots of applicants all the time, every day. But remember, you guys, the state is certifying more non-traditionally certified teachers than they are traditionally certified. So as far as competitive, you've got an edge on others, especially through ACPs, because principals will ask me, did they student teach? Did they go through student teaching? Were they traditionally certified? Because it's really important to them, because they know that you guys have the pedagogy and have been in the classroom versus somebody who hasn't. So competitive, you've got that edge also, because you've been in a classroom.
That's basically what I was going to say, is being a student teacher, you already have an advantage because you have the experience of having taught, as opposed to someone who's not. And so that's going to help you get a lead, if you will. Now, when our principals are looking at applicants, obviously, a couple of things they're going to want to know is where are they in their testing. So we do have individuals that kind of wait to take their test, but just know that when you do that, you're kind of putting yourself kind of at the, not necessarily the bottom of the list, but our principals are going to look for those that are ready to go. So you've passed your content, your PPR is in the books as well. And so all we're waiting for is for you to graduate and get done. And so if you kind of want to give yourself an edge a little bit like that, then make sure your testing is pretty much ready to go. But that doesn't keep you from being hired. It just means that if it's you and someone else, the one that's ready to go may be the one that gets the nod. They loved you. They love them too. So.
Okay, we got a bunch of questions coming in. So you here. You can abort if you don't.
No, it's okay. I do want to ask, I just don't like asking questions. But, so it's more of like just an inquisitive question. What is the presence of like guidance counselors on your campuses? I know, growing up, I only had one up to 6th grade, and then they kind of disappeared. But that is the role that I ultimately want to go after. So I just wanted to know how present they still are, if they are, and what your opinion on that essentially is.
So counselors in Northeast are at the elementary, middle, and high school level. In fact, the high school probably has a larger proportion of counselors. I think you're going to see a change in how counseling operates on the campuses, especially with the move for social and emotional learning. So counselors are going to be more of a counselor instead of doing testing or scheduling. So the role of counselors is changing. Northeast has already switched to that model where our counselors are working with students, helping them through, various things. So counselors, it's to me, I think they're here to stay, and you'll probably see an even larger impact that they will have with our students.
Is that coming from the state? Sorry to jump in.
I believe a lot of it is coming from the state, especially in regards to social emotional learning and the supports that are being given to our students to help guide them.
And I think also just because of college and career readiness, household five, I think that we really have to support that. And so, one of our regular high schools would be probably rank 4 counselors and a lead counselor. So there's quite a bit of support than you probably saw because they were always, really tied up with testing and things like that.
Well, at Northside, we have counselors at all grade levels. So elementary, middle, high. I think you'll see different roles at the different levels, but they're all required to do guidance lessons. Probably not so much at the high school because they're dealing with credits and things like that. But they're available for students who are in crisis, students who are in need. But at elementary, I have a friend who's an elementary counselor and he does guidance lessons. He goes into the classrooms on a regular basis. As a middle school academic dean, we had our counselors do guidance lessons. So they're doing all different kinds of things within the school day.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
If we have a desired position and district we'd like to be in long term, what would be more important for our first job? Getting in the district at a position we wouldn't prefer, or getting the job title in a district that we don't see ourselves in?
I'll start that. That is a great question. With Northside, we're so large. There are so many different opportunities, but it is still a relationship field. So the relationships that you build in the district help you move around. We have a lot of opportunity for that. Although your contract is with the district, you're never signing a contract for a position. Even if you apply for a position, your contract's still with the district. And we pride ourselves on not ever having to let anyone go. So even if there's, in 2010, y'all were probably in middle school. Not even, right? I don't even know, I'm so old. Anyway, we had a huge teacher funding shortage, and there were cuts all around, and Northside was able to absorb every single teacher. We didn't have to let anybody go, but for me, it would be more important to get into the district that you want with the mission statement that you want, rather than hold out for the position unless you're really rich.
Good question. Yes.
So as we're EC through 6, and if we know we don't want to teach above a certain grade level or below a certain grade level, do we include that on our resume, and would that be looked down upon?
I think it's a preference. If you know what you want to teach and you don't want to consider a higher grade or maybe a lower grade, if that's what you're specifically looking for, it's okay to put that on your resume. The only thing I would say is take the student teaching experience, because some people think, I only want to be a pre-K teacher, or I only want to be a kinder try not to limit yourself, but if that's what you know that you want, it's certainly okay to put that on there. I'd much rather you be upfront and say, you know, I want this grade level. And that's where in Northeast you can apply specifically to those grade levels. But I'd say don't limit yourself as well.
And also, just know that anybody that interviews you or screens you is going to be listening for language that is very, like a primary teacher or a secondary teacher. Just by raising hands, how many think I was like an upper grades teacher or a kinder teacher? That's so cute. No, I was definitely like 4th, 5th grade. I was elementary, but I was definitely that upper. Kinder teachers just have a different person, you know, I mean, they use a lot more words, they are down on the floor, they're high energy, like I know her history, but, you know, I mean, just high energy, and I could imagine. So, even if you don't put it, which it's in our application, my preference is these grade levels, so we kind of cluster primary or secondary. We're going to kind of be looking to see where you would fit best.
And I would say also, you know, if you know that this is your niche, you really want maybe pre-K to 2, don't accept an interview for a 5th grade position if you're really not going to want it, because you don't want to waste anyone's time, and if you know you're going to decline it, you know, you may have been picked over someone else, and then they've got to go to their second choice, and that person's no longer available. So, you know, it's okay to know what you want, but be pretty flexible.
Okay, here.
There are a few of us in here with prior military experience. I've heard different things from different people, so I'm wondering if that influences the hiring process, and if so, how much? Do you look for it, or do you kind of not look for it?
It's not that we're specifically looking for that. However, you know, what we're really looking at is your experience student teaching. That's what we're looking at. So prior military or not prior military, it just depends on what your student teaching experience is and what that cooperating teacher is saying. So that's how we operate with these.
And campuses will be listening to your answers as they ask you questions in the interview. And so if your military experience comes up, then talk about that and how it shaped the kind of teacher you've become, or what during that experience has helped you become a better teacher, that kind of stuff.
And in the military, if you worked with recruits or if you helped train recruits, those are things that would be relevant because you did have some teaching components in your military experience as well. So bringing that up would be relevant.
So for the districts that offer the tuition reimbursement, what is the process like?
With ours, it's tuition, it's loan forgiveness. So if you have any federal loans, you would contact your lending institution. Once you get hired, you have a contract, you could contact your lending institution and let them know you're working at a Title I. Ours is a school district, so any of our schools would qualify. And they send you some documents, you send them to us. We verify that you're employed with a Title I school district, and then you submit those, and they do that up to 5 years. A percentage, and it increases for every year that your first year, I believe it's 5%, then 10%, 50%, goes up to 5 years.
So the more years we work, the more...
Up to 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
And it has to be in the title campus. So even northeast and north side, as long as it's a title campus, you would be eligible for that.
And so if you started in SCISD, you taught there 2 years, and then you moved over to another title school in another district, you would just start year 3 with your lending institution.
Okay, we got a couple.
Well, what kind of support do you offer to each of the districts offer for first time teachers? Like I know it could be specific to the campus, but I want to know if there's anything that's specific to your district that makes it a little bit more.
At Northside, we have the Red Wagon, that's hard to say fast, Red Wagon program. And basically, all of our first year teachers are assigned a mentor. We try to have it be in your grade level or content. Obviously, if you're the only Spanish teacher at a middle school, we'll find someone that's comparable, but there's also the networking with the other Spanish teachers in the district. So first level is you're assigned a mentor for the year. Through the Red Wagon program, all of our campuses have a campus mentor advisor. So that person basically works with the mentors to make sure that they are providing support. But that's also another person that you can go to in case you have some concerns. And they're the liaison between the campus and the district. All of our first year teachers, well, all of our teachers new to Northside are invited to the New Teacher Academy. And that's 3 days of professional development, kind of help you walk through Northside expectations, curriculum, all that good stuff. And the good thing with the New Teacher Academy is they try to separate brand new teachers from better teachers just new to Northside. So that way you're hearing what you need. We have lots of professional development throughout the year. We have programs for classroom management if that's something you need. And then within the Red Wagon program, we have monthly professional development meetings at the campus. So when I was the academic dean at Vail Middle School, we would have something every month, and we tried to look at those subject areas that you were in most need of at the time. So we would hit classroom management first, and some other pieces, accommodations, modifications for your special needs students. So you're getting that kind of support along the way. And the good thing with the mentor-mentee relationship is that it just doesn't happen that first year. It continues. And the person, like your cooperating teacher, you're probably going to continue to work with them and utilize them as another mentor.
So with Northeast, for all new teachers, it's a week-long academy before you go into the classroom. During that week, you'll have curriculum instruction, you'll have T-test evaluation information, you'll have courses with technology, you'll have an opportunity to hear the superintendent of the school speak in regards to vision. And then after that week, you are assigned a mentor. Doesn't matter what area you're in, if it's elementary, middle, or high, if it's in fine arts, if it's in languages, you will have a mentor that will be assigned to you for the whole year. And then there are also quarterly meetings that you will have at central office where all of the first-year teachers come together and you meet with instructors and they just kind of debrief with you to see what's going well, see what can be improved. So it gives you an opportunity to express, some things that may be taking place that you need extra support on, and we help guide you to getting that support.
SAISD also, the state requires that we provide a mentor for every teacher. Every brand new teacher, we have to provide a mentor. SAISD does a mentor for 2 years. We also have another layer of support. We have what they're called consulting teachers. We have about 12 of those that are assigned a cohort of brand new teachers. They just go out and they're deployed out to campuses. They have a cohort of teachers that they go and visit and work with. Doesn't mean that you're a struggling teacher. They just are out there to make sure you're doing okay. If you were struggling, then that's a different layer of support that we provide through our educator quality department. We have a department that's strictly works with T-tests, all our evaluation, and teacher support, new teacher support as well.
Okay, we made it to the last question, and then we'll give you guys time to chat with us individually and get wrapped up.
So we're special ed, and we've been told that for special ed, hires is encouraged and also kind of required to have dual certification. However, we cannot seek a secondary certification until after graduation. So what do we do in that case?
The good news is you're graduating in May, and we're probably not going to be hiring in May. So, you'll have time to complete that other test. That's a relatively new issue because the state has always allowed students to test in multiple areas, even if they were just getting a special ed or an elementary cert. We require that because, as a large district, we need you to be versatile so that we don't have to lay you off if there's a cut. You know, we never know exactly what our enrollment's going to be. We're growing, but maybe in special ed, not so much in this one area. And so you can't, basically why we need you to have the core, the EC6, is because you can't be the teacher of record. So you can never be a teacher on a report card, and that limits HR. So we do require that, although I know, that's for elementary, although I know that some positions wouldn't need that. A lot of positions do.
Right, and we would hire you if you had the certificate that we need for maybe middle school or high school co-teach, just with your special ed, but with the condition that you have a full year, we would give you the full year to take that other test. If the position that you're hired for, it's not, you can't do the position without the certification, but if we hired you for a position like a co-teacher that doesn't need the second cert, we would give you a full year to take the additional test.
And Northeast is the same way. We would require the additional cert unless you're going into a co-teach position. Also, if you just have the special ed, it kind of limits you in what you can do, as they were saying, in order to be the teacher of record, even for a self-contained ALE classroom, you have to have that core subject area in order to teach, kinder all the way up through 5th grade. So just keep that in mind.
And part of the reason why a lot of this has transpired is the language that's coming from TEA. Because TEA is saying that if you are going to be instructing content, then you have to have the corresponding certification. And so what happens with special ed, and the way we can, I guess, some way get around that, is if you are at the secondary level, we'll hire a special ed only. So long as the teaching assignment is a collaborative teaching assignment and you are not the teacher of record. But in my conversation with you, when I'm offering you a position, I'm going to encourage that you seek a second certification, because that then allows you to be the teacher of record for, say, an applied language arts class or applied math class. Or if you're going to be in high school, you have that corresponding certification. It just helps our campuses utilize you in a more efficient capacity.
Okay, thank you, T. Excellent information. You want to add something?
You guys are going to be going into the profession, like I said. You guys have choices also. So what I'd like to tell the group is, remember the school districts that showed up on a rainy day to come meet with you guys. Just some other things really quick. I know some of you, this question usually comes up, and it's about, should I start my master's degree at the same time I start teaching? You know yourself, we don't want one, and panels will say the same thing, we don't want one to be compromised. We don't want your teaching to be compromised because you're focusing on your master's degree, or your education compromised because teaching is taking so much work out of you. So you know yourself, do whatever you need to do. Same with coaching, that can happen with coaching as well. So, really get, your plays under you and make sure that you're pretty strong with that. And visit our websites. Check out some things. I mean, we're not going to expect you at the job fair to know every campus that, we have 90 campuses on our school district. But check out some of the things that are going on in our school district so that we can attract you also, and that you have questions to ask us. We have 2 years of teaching. We have opportunities for free master's degree in our school district. So check out our websites, check out and see what else is going on. And that also gives you some conversation to have with your colleagues and teachers.
And we all love each other, but we will fight for each one of you. So just know that at Northside we will bring some recruiters to the job fair. We will be looking to pre-hire special ed and bilingual at the elementary level. And if anybody wants to come by and say hi, go on your way out, we will recruit you up right now.
And lastly, I want to thank everyone in the room for thank our panelists for their time. Best of luck this semester. Thank